Just like I stated in the email that I sent to all of you guys on Friday afternoon, I was overall impressed with the work that we did, and I really believe you guys took those 4 days of review seriously last week. And those of you that had more investment into what you were doing and more investment to your homework, the better off you prepared in this. And I'm not saying I'm congratulating only those that got an A. Some of you, if you got a C on this math test, you were stoked. But I'm going to tell you right now, absolutely every single person that I teach has the ability to get an A, B, or C if they so choose. And in my email that I sent home to you and your parents, I made a statement about how making sure students are doing their own work. And I'm going to reiterate that. I know you guys do each other's homework. I know you guys go onto a website that tells you step by step what to do, and you write it down on your piece of paper and you type it into Alex and it says you're right. But what thinking have you done? None. And then when I put a test in front of you, you have no stinking clue what you're doing, right? Okay? So you cheated to get 5 points. And then you got a 30% on your math test. Who's the fool now? Not this girl, right? I provided you the opportunity. I think all of you can agree you've seen every single problem on that test. Every single one. 4 days of review. 4 days of review. Some of you never even touched the additional practice. Some of you never even finished the online review. What can you expect on your test then? If you're not putting in the effort from the start, it's going to get darn hard by the time we got to 2.5. Agreed? And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think we can all agree that overall, I have not slammed you with homework. True story? I would say probably 75% of the time, you're done with your homework or less than 5 to go when you leave this classroom. Agreed? Now, some of us need to go through and have more practice. That'd be like me trying to diagram a sentence. I would have to do it day in and day out for weeks before I'd ever figure it out. That's just the way brains are wired differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be willing to say, like, Hoff, I need to come in during enrichment. Hoff, I need to see you after school. Hoff, I'm coming down in the morning. I want you to do it. Your parents want you to do it. But the ultimate decision is up to you. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am building your foundation for Algebra 1. Guys, their chapter 2 is solving equations. Their chapter 6 is what we're going to study right now. Our chapters 3s and 4s match up almost perfectly. I'm building you a foundation for what you're going to do next year. And the next year, and the next year, and the next year. And people are like, well, I'm not even going to go to school after high school. I'm going to be done. That's your choice. I hope you don't have that mindset, but that's your choice. But I'm going to tell you right now, foundational math skills. Can you balance your checkbook? Do you know how much money you have? Can you afford a new car? How do I figure that out? Can I buy a house? Should I buy a house versus renting? What's better for my budget? Can I go out to eat? That's all mathematical skill set that you're learning. I promise you. I promise you. I'm a nerd. I will show you my budget someday. I have every penny mapped out. I am 34 years old and a nerd, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm telling you guys is you have to want this. You can't change your math grade now, your test grade. It is what it is. But solving equations is going to continue to show up all year long. So if you don't know what you're doing, you need to get in and you need to see me. And we need to make arrangements. You have to make that decision, though. None of us like when a teacher hovers over us. Agreed? It's annoying. And we're at that age, especially that you're like, why is Hoff staring at me right now? I don't want to have to hover over you. But some of you are going to put me in that place that I have to hover over you. If continuing to cheat is going to happen, I will quit giving daily grades and we'll make it only based on tests. And I don't think you want that. Or I'll get rid of Alex and everything will be due at the end of the hour. I don't want to be that person. I want you guys to have time to work. I want you to be able to go through it. But that's a choice you have to make. Okay? All right, I'm off that. Today is the day that you get to make your new decision. this week lays out like so. Today you have a book assignment. Then we're going to work on 1-3. And 1-3 has 2 topics in it. We're going to cover one of the topics on Wednesday, one of the topics on Thursday, and then I'm going to scramble them on the same page on Friday. Next week, we're going to cover 1-4, 1-5, and 1-6. Next Wednesday, I am going to be gone. Just a heads up, I have to be at math meetings in another building, so I will be absent. I don't know who your sub is, but I will have everything taken care of and a video prepared for you. And then the following week, you will cover 1-7, and you will have a test. That is also the last week of the quarter. So some of us are like, I need some points to boost my grade up. It didn't go so well. Well, your points are making sure you get your homework done, making sure you understand on your own how to do it. If Ms. Hoff randomly throws a problem at you, can you do it on your own prior to your test the last week of October? Okay? And I will always get you enough practice, but what you put into that practice is what counts. All right, here we go. Page 16. Everybody needs a calculator. Do you have a calculator? If you don't have a calculator, you're not going to do well today. All right. Writing and evaluating powers, a product of repeated factors. Product in math means? Product in math means multiply. You multiply the same number. We can express this as a power. That is using an exponent and a base. So right here they show us 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Repeated multiplication of the same number. I don't know what anybody is writing down right now. Listen, okay? Repeated multiplication. My base is 2. That's the number that is multiplied over and over. My exponent is 4 because it is multiplied 4 times. Okay? Your base is the number that is multiplied over and over and over again. Your exponent tells you how many times it's multiplied. Now, something that's super important to Ms. Hoff is to be able to read your powers or provide me the answer out loud correctly. So this shows you, you would say 3 to the first power, 3 to the second power. Also, sometimes they'll say 3 squared, 3 to the third power, or 3 cubed, 3 to the fourth power, 5 to the 12th power, x to the 9th power. Okay? I will make you say it again and again until you say it correctly. Don't say x with a little 9. No. X to the 9th power. But also make sure your exponent is smaller than your other number, right? That's crucial. Something that is important here, off to the side of your chart, right here. Make a little asterisk. All negative and fraction bases must be in parentheses. All negative and fraction bases must be in parentheses. Your base is the number that multiplies over and over and over. So up here, our base was 2. It's not negative, and it's not a fraction, so we didn't need parentheses. Okay? Let's look at example 1 and 2. The directions say, write the expression, which is a mathematical statement without an equal sign, using exponents. We're not calculating anything here. They have written -2 times -2 times -2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So we see multiplication and the same base is repeated. So my first base is -2. And how many -2's do I have? 3. So I have -2 to the third power. Now note, -2 is a base. It's negative. I have parentheses. How many 3's do I have? 4 of them. 3's positive. I don't have to have parentheses. Example number 2. How many A's do I have? 2. So I end up with A squared. How many B's do I have? 3, so I end up with b cubed. Let's go down. Got it, a, b, and c together. All they want us to do is to rewrite this using exponents. Jacob, a, what is my base that is multiplied over and over and over? 1/2. How many times is it multiplied? 4 times. What is important, everyone, in this problem? Parentheses. You have a base that is a fraction. So your 1/2 must be in parentheses or it's wrong. Okay? Chris, give me a base on b that you have. 4 to the 3rd power. Nicely done. You grouped both of my questions into one. A base of 4, there were 3 4s. Kaya, what's another base I have on b? And how many do I have? 2. So I have the 2nd power. 4 to the 3rd times 5 to the 2nd. Notice the dot, yes? Don't put an X or it is wrong. It is wrong. C. Peyton, give me a base that you have on C. M to the 3rd power. Good correction. And Gatlin, what's my other base on C? N to the 2nd power. Jacob, question. Well, how many m's do you have? 3. The whole purpose of this is to group everything that's the same base together. Why can we rearrange the order of those? It's multiplication. Multiplication and addition, we can rearrange the order. Nicely done. Top of the right-hand page, number 3, uses the word evaluate. Evaluate means we're going to actually simplify. We're going to actually use our calculator, but we have to remember PEMDAS. Just don't forget that. PEMDAS. The whole purpose of exponents is to try to write our expression in a condensed format. I'm going to tell you right now, negative 2/3 to the 4th does mean negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 times negative 2/3. 4 of them, yes? But if I type negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 into my calculator, there's a lot of places for me to make a mistake. Agreed? If it becomes negative 2 minus 2 instead of times 2, or if I forget the times sign and it becomes 22, set your calculator down. I don't know what you're doing. So the whole purpose of exponents is to be able to avoid this piece. Now, is everyone listening? Your calculator is not very good at dealing with negatives and fractions with exponents. Okay? So I'm going to show you how we make your calculator work as smart as it possibly can. Negative 2/3 to the 4th power. There's 4 of them. There's 4 numerators. There's 4 denominators. Every time you have a fraction, you want to rewrite this by saying, I'm going to take the numerator to the 4th power, and I'm going to take the denominator to the 4th power. Now, this is a negative. I always push the negative with the numerator, hence why I still have parentheses. Everybody follow. Technically, I didn't do any calculating yet. I took negative 2/3 to the 4th and reminded myself I have 4 negative 2's in the top and 4 3's in the bottom. Here's where your calculator is going to come into play. Look at your calculator. We're all looking for the caret key. Ms. Hoff calls it the caret key. It's that arrow looking one. Find your 7 key, go to the left and up. You should see it, yes? Looks like so. Everybody follow me? Now, we're not going to type anything in yet, okay? Negative 2 to the 4th power. Ms. Hoff also said our calculator's not very good at negatives. So I don't care that it's a 2. But if I have a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative, what is my answer? A positive. Why? 2 negatives equals a positive. You ultimately have, yep, you're right. Ultimately have 2 and 2, right? You can take 4 negatives. These 2 are going to make a positive, and these 2 are going to make a positive. Yes? Why? Why? Why am I going to end up with a positive? Jacob? Why? Isaiah? Okay, so why if there's 4 of them? Hudson?
Because the 2 negatives make positives.
Yep. What if I gave you another number? How do I determine whether it's positive or negative? What if I gave you an exponent of 12? Negative something to the 12. Positive or negative? How do you know? Bingo, that's what I was looking for. It's based on if your exponent is even, because, and you guys were all saying this, it makes groups of 2, yes? 2 negatives make a positive, 2 negatives make a positive. Well, when you have an odd number, 2 negatives make a positive, and then you got a guy left over, you end up with a negative. On the right-hand side, under the evaluate, write this down. If you have a negative base, this only matters if you have a negative base. An odd exponent means you have a negative answer. An even exponent means you have a positive answer. Your calculator is not smart enough to figure this out. So we never want to put negatives in with our exponent. We want to know if it's a positive or negative before that. But that only is if you have a negative base. If you have a positive base, your answer is going to be positive. Okay, so you guys told me, yes, this is negative, Ms. Hoff, but this is even. So that means we know our answer is going to be positive. So on your calculator, you should type 2 caret key 4 equals 2, and then that up arrow 4 equals. What do you get? Should get 16. Now type 3 caret key 4 equals 81. You do not, I repeat, you do not type negatives or fractions into your calculator. This is this button right here. So turn your calculator on and go 2 on that button. 4 equals. Okay. All right. Continue to go around the room. Nikita, I think we're to you. D. 4 raised to the 4th power. Not 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And you don't want to type 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 in your calculator. Use the exponent key. 256. Anybody else get 256? Yes? All right, cool. E. Parker, negative 2 to the 6th. First question, it's a negative base. Negative base, we look at my exponent. Is your exponent even or odd? Even. What does that tell you about your answer? Very good. My answer is going to be positive. And when you type 2 raised to the 6th, what do you end up getting? 64. Nicely done. 64. F. It's a fraction. We are not putting a fraction in the calculator. Ms. Hoff wants us to show her 1/5 to the 3rd power. Really means the 1 gets the 3rd power and the 5 gets the 3rd power. 1 times 1 times 1, Maddie, is 1. 5 times 5 times 5, 125. 1/125th. I'm going to tell you right now, without this, there is no credit. If you are not writing 1 cubed over 5 cubed, Ms. Hoff will not give you credit. I'm going to repeat this because a lot of you should be writing this down. If you don't have 1 cubed over 5 cubed on your paper, Ms. Hoff will not give you credit. That's the last thing you want, right? To lose credit when you have the correct answer. Show me how you got it. Show me how you got it. Turn to page 18. To practice what we just did on your own, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that guided practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the guided practice. We're going to keep circling around the room. Read the directions carefully. Read your directions carefully. Read your directions. If you're using a calculator on 1, 2, 3, you're not reading your directions. If you can, yes. Tori, number 1, what'd you put for an answer? Agree or disagree? Parentheses. Without them, you're wrong. Without them, you have negative 11 times 11 times 11. The parentheses means that negative also has to be repeated. Negative bases and fractions must have parentheses. Connor, what'd you put on 2?
2 cubed times 3.
Thoughts, agree or disagree? Nicely done. 2 to the 3rd, or he said 2 cubed times 3 to the 3rd. Awesome. Reading it aloud as well. 3, Carter. R to the 5th times S to the 3rd. Could I write S to the 3rd times R to the 5th? Why? It's multiplication. 2 times 3 or 3 times 2 mean the same thing. Most of you probably put R first because that's the first letter you came to, agreed? And it's totally fine. Nicely done, Carter. Number 4, Adriana, what'd you get? 2 to the 6th is? 64. Anybody else get 64? Yes. 5, Nevaeh, negative 4 to the 4th. Positive or negative? Positive? You sure? How do you know? Even. Very good. Even. Number 6, Lane, what work are you going to show Miss Hoff so that she knows you did this correctly? Perfect. And when you calculated 1 to the 3rd and 7 to the 3rd, what'd you get? Fantastic. 1 and 343. It is not 7 times 3. It is 7 times 7 times 7. Now, do I know that you could type 7 times 7 times 7 into your calculator? Yes, but what if I gave you 7 raised to the 25th? You want to type 7 25 times in your calculator? That's super annoying, agreed? And you can make a mistake, so be very cautious of that. All right, flip back a page to the very bottom of page 17, example 5 and 6. The last part of putting this all together, we are going to evaluate, which means we're going to calculate or simplify the expression. Not an equal sign, so we're not solving. People are like, oh, solve this. No, there's no equal sign. We're not solving. We're going to evaluate. So like on 5, they gave us a squared plus b to the 4th. We're like, what is a? What is b? Here's where your directions are important. A is 3 and b is 5. So the very first thing we have to do is replace a and b. Now this looks better. 3 squared plus 5 to the 4th. Remember, ooh, that's a funny looking e. PEMDAS. P stands for parentheses, then exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Like, oh, good Lord, Miss Hoff, we've done this a gazillion times, right? Okay, now, 3 squared plus 5 to the 4th. Are there parentheses? No. Are there exponents? Yes, okay? We don't need this line. The whole purpose of exponents is to not write this out. So 3 squared is 9. 5 to the 4th is 625. Then the only operator left is addition. We add them together to get 634. 6. We replace A and B with 3 and 5. This time there are parentheses. So inside our parentheses, we need to get that down to one number. By subtraction, 3 minus 5 gives me -2. And then -2 squared is 4. Let's practice this. Flip to the top of the next page. H, we're going to H. Evaluate the expression if C is -4 and D is 9. Our very first step is to replace C's and D's. C is going to become -4 and D is going to become 9. Now on H, it says C cubed. What'd you just tell me C was? -4. Negative bases always have to have parentheses. So I need to have -4 cubed plus, what'd you say D was? 9 squared. Now 9 is positive, so I do not have to have it in parentheses. Order of operations. P stands for parentheses. Now I understand we have parentheses, but inside these parentheses, is there anything I can do here? It's just a number. So the very first thing we're actually going to deal with is exponents. Now, Thad, -4 cubed. Is that going to be a positive or negative answer? Negative. Why? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. His exponent is odd, which tells him that his answer is going to be negative. Now, I absolutely then would have him take 4 raised to the 3rd power on his calculator to get very good. 4 to the 3rd of your calculator is 64, but our calculator can't deal with negatives, so he remembered it's an odd exponent, -64. Peter, 9 squared. 9 times 9 is 81. So many people write 18 there. 81. Order of operations, Paxton, my next thing to do would be? I have -64 plus 81. What's the next thing I'm going to do? And I wouldn't change the order. I wouldn't change the order. I would type it in exactly how it states here. -64 plus 81. What do you get? Positive or negative? Positive. 81 is bigger and it's positive. Question, Getlin? Good question. Okay. All right, let's go to I. C plus D in parentheses cube. C we're replacing with -4. Miss Hoff, you didn't put in parentheses. Is there an exponent right on C? Then I'm not going to worry about my parentheses. Plus, what's D? 9. Close my parentheses with a 3. Isaiah, according to order of operations in our problem, what's the first thing I need to do here? Ooh, careful.
What?
Go before that.
Oh,
Order of operations, what comes first? Parentheses. Inside our parentheses, is there anything mathematically we can do? Yes. What is it?
-4 plus 9.
Bingo. -4 plus 9 is
5.
5. So first we want to shrink down that parenthesis to one number. Miss Talina, 5 raised to the third power is? Very good. 125. 125. Go down. 8 and 9. We're going to keep circling. 8 and 9. Hudson, did I totally skip you? I did. I'm coming back to you. You get ready, okay? I just realized that. I apologize. You guys go and do 8 and 9. Follow your order of operations. All right, number 8. I took the most difficult step out of all of them and replaced x with 2 and y with 10. Haley, according to PEMDAS, in our problem, what are we going to do first? Number 8 doesn't have parentheses, though. So if we think of PEMDAS, and we don't have parentheses, what's your E stand for? P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents. So we need to calculate our exponents next. 2 squared, 2 times 2. Haley, sticking with you. 2 times 2. 4. 10 to the 4th power. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 10,000. Everyone, 4 plus 10,000 is 10,004. 10004. All right, JC number 9. I took the hard part again. I replaced x with 2 and y with 10. Before JC tells you what we're going to do, watch your parentheses. So many of you have your parentheses written down wrong on this, which is why you got it wrong. JC, what is the first thing you want me to do in this problem?
Okay, 2 for the x and 10 for the y.
Yep, did that. Tell me my next one.
2 times 2 is 4.
Okay. Yep. Now, everybody should have gone, ooh, parentheses. We got to get that down to one number. Inside those parentheses, she's absolutely correct. The first thing we would do is take 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. Gavin, what's your next step? Very good. Still got to work inside those parentheses. What is 4 plus 10? 14. And Miss Sienna, what is 14 raised to the 3rd power? Nicely done. 2,744. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This isn't crazy difficult. You got to remember PEMDAS, which we've done for like how many years in a row, right? But if you just have an answer written down, I will not give you credit for your homework tomorrow. Not happening. Okay? I need to know why or how you got those. Okay? Why or how you got those. You three got off the hook for today. Be ready tomorrow. All right? Ready for your homework?
Yes.
Top of page, oh geez, don't even. Top of page 19. 1 through 25 odd, 28 and 29. Now here's the deal. Every time we do odds or evens, somebody always does all of it. So let's go through and cross off some problems. Cross off 2 and 4 and 6 and 8 and 10 and 12. Cross off 14 and 16. Be very careful on 17. Cross off 18. 20, 22, cross those off. Cross off 24. Cross off 26. Cross off 27. But then don't forget to do 28 and 29. 1 through 25 odd, 28 and 29. The rest of the hour is yours.